You back in MACKO. Believe the Italians can pull off something a bit magic here. But they are at the bottom of the table for a reason. Of course, if they win this one, then they kind of push WYLDE down. They jump over them by just 1 point. Will be very, very hard pressed tomorrow to snatch a place in our playoffs, given all the other games that are taking place. But WYLDE, if they win here, as I said earlier on, they join Fnatic and BDS on 10 points, and it is then anyone's game tomorrow to get into that position. They play last against Secret tomorrow, so we could literally be waiting until the very final second to know who our playoff teams are going to be. But for now, Tim, we've got to get through Lair. MACKO could yet play spoiler in this series. Overtime wouldn't benefit either, so we need to see a clean win for one of the two sides. And I think with WYLDE starting on defense, as said, I back them. Our bans are going to be the Kaid. Is it Bandit, maybe? Indeed, we do. And then a Ying and a Glaz. Very rare that we see a Glaz ban, but fair to say, Tim, he does have his place in the meta. Quite a few teams making use of him.
Yeah, definitely. We see plenty of Glaz. We've seen plenty of it used tonight, and we've seen the value of it. But like you say, not one of the common bans that we get. Obviously, WYLDE there, I think, you know, reading into something, whether it be specific that they've seen MACKO do, or whether maybe it's just more of a general principle of. I mean, look, we've seen very recently Glaz used on Lair, Mask Wall, just walking in, getting kills, for example. You know, it's something that definitely can be done. So I guess, you know, there is value in taking it away.
And they're just, well, we're going to start things off on the top floor, Tim. So we'll see if the, do we call them the requests, the demands, the suggestions by our desk really come to light in terms of how they opt to try and play. MACKO going to start things off with Ryden running around on the Monty, and I always hate before we've even seen a bullet fired to jump on him here, but it hasn't been the brightest stage for Ryden. Of course, I think many were expecting an upgrade after Ghost has moved on. Haven't quite seen that come to the fore, and that is why MACKO find themselves at the very bottom of the table. It's not solely on his shoulders, but it's definitely had an impact, I think, as we've seen throughout the stage.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're going to get on into things there. It will be top floor to kick things off. We've got Ryden on the Monty, going to be looking to create space and feed intel into his team. And straight away, Selma Charge goes onto that main wall. We hear it detonate. There is nothing on the side of the defenders to stop that happening other than the Tubarão. So even if there's auto canisters go out, it is a matter of time. They won't be able to clear that off. They do have nitros, but they won't use them for that. I was going to say impact nade, maybe take the Selma Charge off after the first detonation, but they won't even do that. I don't think it's any problem whatsoever for MACKO to get that mask wall open.
Absolutely not, but a few things to chew through first for MACKO here. Barbed wire to worry about. A potential swing coming in. I'll tell you what, Matt's in a very, very aggressive position. Had no idea it was coming their door, and he's looking to have his life still. Ryden has stepped on forward, and Ted's parked up with him here to get a kill. Guaranteed to one. A second from Boomsy, though. It's exchanges all around him. They've got control of the display, and the Monty's in a good spot here as the C4 comes on through, but Boomsy has collected his second, collected a lot of scalps throughout the stage. 2 in the round for himself, and is that also converted on towards the Monty. Dora at least gets 1, but he's now going to find it against 2 more, and that is asking a lot. Boomsy looking for his 4th of the round. Right idea. Gets him with the drop shot on that Deagle. 4 kills to kick the game off.
Boomsy had a real day yesterday and continues where he left off. Good performance through in there in round 1 and very solid from WYLDE. I think MACKO tried to get up in their faces a little bit. We saw that initial rush towards the door from Dora, just trying to get on into the map, and then after that initial coming together, it was kind of like, you know, toe to the board and get that accelerator down and try to really push through, but it didn't happen for MACKO ultimately as they tried to get themselves on into the map while we were able to cut them down and come out on top of the bloodbath.
They were quite comfortably so. All right, round 1 done and dusted. Part that one, head down to the basement, and we'll see how things play out down here. A bit more of a complex affair, naturally, as we've seen already today. You have to work your way through the map, generally from that 2nd floor down to the 1st floor, and then with the verticals, you start thinking about the execute. But WYLDE aren't going to make that easy, Tim. I'm looking at this lineup. A lot of intel denial coming out with the Mute and the Mozzie and the Vigil to some degree also weighing in there. And a couple of roamers they can play around quite heavily. Maybe even the 3 if Garen wants to be playing aggressive. Doubt that he will. But Steek and Max in particular, I think, will be the 2 that we'll see making use of the map as best they can alongside the Mozzie to cause a bit of a headache for the side of MACKO.
To locate a bomb and defuse it.
Okay then, how many have we got up above? That's always the question at this stage. 4, like you say. One of them is up on the top floor. Sneak all the way up there on the very tippy top of the map. Yes, indeed. He's on the Scopos. So the thing is, he's the operator to play up there. He's going to be able to get back to site very, very quickly with that shell transfer, giving him, to all intents and purposes, a teleportation. We're going to have great work from this Twitch drone. Gets 2 of the Vulcan canisters. Can they make it a third? They see it. Not another shot yet available. Going to have to wait for the recharge. If that drone survives, it'll be pretty easy to take out another one.
Well, Ryden at least asking a couple of questions already here early on. One of those Vulcan canisters burning out just to impede him slightly. But this is where it starts to march on forward. And this is where the questions now have got to start being asked of Wild. Okay, we've still got Sneak up on that second floor. Is he staying up there for now? Is he rejoining his team? I'd imagine there probably needs to be all these vertical angles being played, but there are 3 players up there already looking to do all of that. And that can make these steps forward and towards site extremely risky. So we'll keep an eye on that. If Ryder can get past the vertical and get himself the plank going down, of course, the shield goes on his back, slightly protected, and this is what I mean. Garen on the side swipe, not even from above, gets rid of their main plant tool here, their main bastion of safety. Booms into a second, and although it looked for a second like maybe Wild, so it might have been slipped past, the MACKO might be inside of sight. They've largely been chewed up and spat out. 2 kills going to the side of Wild if they do lose Evan in the process.
Sneak has transferred back to his shell on site. Didn't really have any value up on that top floor because MACKO weren't pushing the first floor. They just went direct to site. As you quite rightly said, there was enough people to try and hold that back from above anyway. MACKO have got one above now. Teb has gone in there, but Sneak after the transfer, absolute beauty onto Aqui. He's going to be fuming. Trade comes in as Lolo gets Boomer. Booms it. Matt manages to get him back. And it is now 1v3, becomes 1v2 for Teb. We saw some big clutches from him in stage 1. He's going to need another one here.
Yeah, a lot still to do. Admittedly, he's got good time with which to work, but given how we've seen Wild playing off trades in this round, they've done really well and been very, very effective at it. I don't think they're going to let Teb find continuous 1v1s here and just close the round out. Final 35 seconds or so, you'll hear him coming. He's not particularly quiet, a Sledge. 1 speed, 3 armor, make a hell of a lot of noise on their way through, of course, and quiet his footsteps over that slightly little bit. But I imagine at some point it'll have been caught out here on some kind of information, or they'll hear him come in and shouldn't give him those isolated 1v1s. They're sat on the diffuser, they know where it is, and now just wait for him to step through so they can guarantee this crossfire, get a 2v1 off the back of it. Teb's got to find someone, tries his best, but Sneak, easy collection. Another round for Wild. Yeah,
Wild looking pretty solid so far on the defense. They want to rack up as many rounds as they can here in the first half, because without a doubt it's going to be tougher on the attack of Lair. If we have a look at the stats for Wild so far, their attacking win rate kind of middle of the pack, 47%, so not bad at all. If they can get themselves a 4-2 half, you know, 47%, nearly 50%, you look at that thinking there's 3 rounds for them there on the attack if they can just play to the stats that they've had already through the stage. So a 4-2 could well be enough, and at the minute they are halfway there. MACKO not really able to make too much of a dent on this one so far. This is their opportunity now, MACKO. This is the one that they need to come out and win.
Absolutely. Otherwise, I imagine we're going to see attack timeout. Spoke about it a lot already tonight. After you've seen that first quarter pass on through, you have another band to come out. You're probably playing the same 3 sides again. It's a good time to have the coach step in and course correct what's been going wrong across those first few rounds. Assuming, of course, you've lost them all. If you've won 2, you crack on. And maybe it's more the defenders that will take that attack timeout, but right now it's MACKO that are on the back foot. Another hole coming in upstairs here, Tim. You can see an ops. We've got this barbed wire going down, reinforcements going through, rotations being opened up, mats will being reinforced. You name it, doing enough to be able to hold down not the entirety of the top floor, but enough that they can cover sight from above. We'll see how things play out. Here we go.
Quite interesting that we're seeing Weapon.
Yeah, very rare actually. I was about to say, I'm going to check the stats on how often we've seen it, because I guarantee you it's like probably about 4 times globally this stage, I want to say, last check.
Yeah, fair. Very, very rare. I can tell you pretty quickly for EML at least in stage 2. We've seen it once before, and it was won by the attackers. So, yeah, it's not one that we see too often. It tends to be bunks if you're going to take that mid-floor side. But it might also just put MACKO on the back foot a little bit. You know, maybe it's something that they don't really rehearse practice, attacking too much either, because you don't tend to see it. But it's going to be a lot of top floor again. We've got Sneak up there on the second floor, and then everybody's going to be effective straight away. Picks up the kill onto Aqui. Shield coming in. Nitro goes out. Does get away without too much damage. Ryden has done a good job of absorbing those C4s so far. Warden knows he's going to be challenged by a second player. Ryden getting right up in his face here. I like this from the duo. The teamwork, well played. Dora gets the kill. Garen taken down.
Enough pressure building up there to overwhelm him a little bit. Really good. Forced a bit of indecision, a little bit of panic. And it gets them, not the entry, but at least a start in towards the site itself. And I was right, Tim. 4 times it's been played globally, won by attackers in 3 of them. I thought for a second then that Matt's might actually catch up the Monty. He was looking completely the wrong way. He's back to him, but I don't think even he clocked what it was that he was looking at. Expect a player to be behind him. Wasn't quite the case. So they're forced to backpedal a little bit here. Got to be careful about the pressure. It starts to build up from the side of MACKO, getting the surround in here. At least off towards some of it. And there we go. The upstairs retreat, but they see him go into and they'll know exactly what Boomsy's up to.
Yeah, exactly that. They know that he's headed up there. They're going to be looking to try and chase him down. Sneak just putting another one of those keeper barricades out, trying to burn as much time away as possible, but there's still a minute left on the clock. MACKO have plenty of time to go at. 4 versus 4 though, and kills have not been forthcoming for the attackers just yet, as they managed to get the ward and take Garen off the board probably about a minute and a half ago now, and nothing else has followed on since. It's actually going to be Boomsy who breaks the deadlock, manages to pick up Lolo, and that is going to be the Nomad gone. Not a big loss of utility, but the manpower isn't going to help. 30 seconds left to go. We hear the Toxic Babes coming out. That's the last that is available for Mats. So 20 seconds, MACKO will be able to go if there's any of them left.
I doubt there will be. Boomsy's having a bit of a game here, Tim. 7-1. He sits at Ryden trying to get the diffuser down. It's obviously made a bit of pressure happen in this round. They've got to complete onto this one, but there we go. It's been put down at this point, Tim. It's just Dora in a 1 versus 2. As Ted Pryor gets a spray through, almost onto an ace. But Sneak gets the pistol that he needs. 3 rounds in a row. And I do expect, Tim, we'll see that tack timeout coming through any second now.
Absolute chaos at the end of the round there. Just shots raining through smoke, people hitting blind shots, Dora nearly getting an ace. It was all happening at the end, but ultimately it was WYLDE who came out on top. Sneak had a good round. I think it was 3 for him in the round, and just managed to get them over the line. So WYLDE go 3-0. Like I said, minimum 4-2 for them. Their attacking stats suggest that they then go on and probably win it in the second half. So another 1 will do them. Another 2 would be absolutely brilliant. And that's a rare defensive win on weapons as well.
It is indeed, yeah. Start padding out those stats, boys. Get that sight down into the range where everything else is, around about that 50% mark or a little bit higher for defense. As I said, tack timeout comes on through. Well, looks a little bit fed up already. Not surprising you're down 0-3, and it does feel like it's hard to battle in. What I will give to MACKO is they've had a couple of rounds where they've been sat in these 1v2s. They just haven't been able to win those out. They've come close a couple of times, but I don't think that's going to carry on. And I would be really interested to see now if, like, if I didn't see it a second ago, if the Monty's banned away, for example, to try and take Ryden off what clearly looks to be a bit of a comfort operator for him. You put on something like a Blitz or a Blackbeard, I don't think you're going to see quite the same efficacy or the same safety that he's offered so far. So wouldn't feel like a bad shout for me to take that one away from them and just make them uncomfortable for another few rounds.
See plenty of discussion going on. Just have our highlights. Absolutely beautiful from Sneak there for that entry. I feel like Ryden's been a little bit unfortunate. He's played the Monty so far, and I think you know, in a number of situations he's played it pretty well. He created some really good space at the beginning of that round, gave Dora the opportunity to take out Garen on the Warden. It worked really, really well, but ultimately just not getting enough joy with it. So let's get into it. Ryden will have to move across to the thermite with the Monty being taken away. WYLDE back up to the top floor and looking to repeat what they did in round 1, where they were able to reasonably comfortably hold on to this one.
10 seconds left before insertion.
All right. We get a repeat. We get to see how things play out, and we'll get to see Ryden stepping off that Monty, as I mentioned. See how effective we can be now without a shield on side overall for MACKO. Obviously not to 1 in this round at all. Boomsy, surely... He knows he's not Alibi, right?
Right?
Now that's pretty cheeky. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. But a bit of a read coming through from the other side there. I think obviously as you're running from that spawn, you're going to see the outline in front of you of him being outside the map, but know exactly what is coming. Max. Instant guns up and a good response.
Yeah, I think it's one of 2 things. Like you say, you see, you know, as soon as the enemy gets tagged outside, you know there's a good chance of exactly that happening. Alternatively, they've seen it in some analysis. Maybe it's one that he's tried before and they've seen it, you know, with him on there. So they were waited, ready for that one. I do love them sometimes, though. You know, just getting out of the map and just getting a nitro up onto a rooftop. Another one we see it with sometimes is out a clubhouse wall. Depends what the team usually does on the breach, but quite often people will sit above that breach to drone. And if you take that opportunity, if there's nobody on the rappel, we've seen a couple of kills like that where they get themselves out, and that's a nitro up onto the roof. But unsuccessful this time, and we continue on. A minute into the round, no entries yet. Wall is open. So access has been gained into site at least. They've got the Grim, they've got the Capite, they've got the Dog, with plenty of operators and utility to help them with an execute.
Actually, that's not very good use there, Tim, is the key one. At least so far, no one's gone down early on, which is good progress to not find yourself hamstrung too early into the round. But a lot of utility still to work their way through. Which is exactly what we'll get on with now is the ace going on through, starting to get a march on forward. The fire to stop him being swung on to. Dora to start out with the entry here as well to try and make a bit of a step forward. Ryden hits the deck, should be recoverable, but they know what's coming. Evans just got the pre-fire on, locked him. Dora's down, Ryden not easy to recover. It's a 4v3 here for Wild.
Yeah, that's a big problem. If Dora wins that, then what a swing it is. He, you know, takes down Evan as well. He can get Ryden back on his feet if he gets around the corner. It's looking 5 versus 3, but now they find themselves effectively in a 3 versus 4. So a huge, huge play from Wild there to keep themselves in this one, and now to put themselves in the driving seat well and truly. Mats manages to get Teb. Lolo goes in through the window, will step into the trim connector in bathroom, and that will do a little bit of damage. It will slow him down as well. Garen manages to finish off the injured Ryden, and it's now 4 versus 2. Akwi onto Boomsy, catches him, just rotating through Rocket. I'm not sure exactly what the play was from Boomsy there. I think just trying to get up onto the flank, but
another trip.
It didn't play out.
Got hit by another trip there. He makes his cross towards the diffuser. He's probably getting shot from the player off towards his left. Big risk to take, but they've got 15 seconds with which to do it. No, not quite shot at, but in a spot where he can try and make the plan happen for sure. They miss out on the cross, and he's got himself tucked in here. This means now we're going to have to see Wild make a step forward.
Loading
one put down, almost onto a second as well. After going to be able to complete this one, I'm pretty damn sure, but no, Evan again is there to have an impact. Was off towards Skywalk last time around, gets himself a third in the round. To a brilliant round from Evan to see Wild recover, stage a retake, hit that disable, and go up 4-0 here on Lair.
The 2 kills that Evan got at the end there, super important, but the first one of them was really smart play because he knew that they were going to have to come out of that breach after they put the diffuser down. Both of them were stood on top of the case when it was getting planted, so he knows you can't both go towards mask wall because you're going to get cut down as you try to go across. It's too much open ground, so he knew that the swing was 90% likely to come. Just pre-fires it, gets himself an easy kill, and then you're in the 2v1. Wild looking fantastic at the minute, absolutely flying. 4-0.
And now you're starting to wonder really on the side of MACKO, if they've had that attack timeout, can they keep on recovering? This is the primary site for Wild, so you probably still fancy to take it out. Once we step down to, dare I say, to go back to weapons again, I don't think we will. Maybe find ourselves on the more standard bunks off towards the right-hand side of it instead. The next round, of course, will be down in the basement. They had the right sort of idea last time, I think. It just sort of fell apart at the end. And I mentioned they got those 2 1v2s that they lost. So they are part of the way there. They've just got to get the end product delivered, Tim. You can't do all the hard work for 2.5 minutes and then just see it flounder in the last 30. Got to do a little bit more.
Yeah, I think part of the problem for MACKO last time was just trying to ignore the floor above the site. It was, you know, so many of Wild were able to play up there and then able to kind of, you know, hit them as they went in through doorways, using verticals, come downstairs, change things up. And I'd like to see MACKO take some confident map control. They haven't done so yet, I don't feel, throughout this game. And just get all the areas you need. Force all of Wild back into sight. Make them play from there. Make them sit right on top of each other. No room to move. No room to breathe. Put them under pressure. Don't allow them to keep running the map.
All right. Let's see if we can improve here. MACKO, 2 more bites of the cherry to get yourself around in this half. Otherwise, I imagine it'll be a pretty torrid affair going into the second. Pat, so I was looking at numbers earlier again to reference some of the stats that we had. I'll have to pull it back up again fresh. But I'm pretty sure we saw MACKO having like a really, really shocking attacking win rate down below 20%, which was like, oh, can't really be affording to be having that at the top level, Tim. Not if you want to be competitive. It's down there at 22.9%. I think we're seeing that struggle really build up here a little bit. Again, with the Monty band away, it's going to hamstring him a little bit. Riding back on a shield and already losing about a third of his life here. Just stepping forward towards the breach. Not looking too good for the man. He's lost his life. That is not ideal.
Snake's going to go for more. Can't find him. MACKO manages to beat him to the headshot. 4 versus 4, but Snake's job largely done there, taking the shield off the board. He would happily trade his life for that to get rid of the Blackbeard. Boomsy has taken a lot of damage, though. He's going to be chased back as well, and this is a little bit better from MACKO. This is kind of what I wanted to see from them. Take some map control. If you look now at the bottom of your screen across those player cards, everybody on Wild forced back to the basement. They're back on site. 1 minute 20 left to go. MACKO can do some work from above. They've got Teb on the Deimos. He can go in with the Vendetta now. Try and find some kills. Try and move these defenders around out of those positions that they want to play.
I honestly think they'd be pretty happy. They've got rid of the shield, which is arguably the biggest threat in this round to them. There's one drop left, and outside of that, a bit of guns up, sure. The Grim's going to help out, sure. You can get a track on from the Deimos. That'll give you a little bit of relief, a little bit of a reprieve. But I think WYLDE will be very happy sitting back here and just saying, cool, you guys do your work. You get yourselves set up. You run that clock down low. And we'll punish you when we do, because look what we've got. We've got glow canisters. We've got smoke still to play behind. We've got a C4. We've got mirror windows we're safe behind. They're so dug in and entrenched here, and more than happy to just let MACKO come at them. I say that as Akri gets a second in the round. It's Goyo, a bit more dispensable than arguably the others. As the first smoke, second smoke comes out from Evan, maybe even a third. MACKO look ready to execute here, Tim, with about 25 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and this is the thing. They've got to make it stick. They're going to have to play through toxic vape canisters. Got Boomsy having all the utility thrown at him. Dora picks up Garen. Need to start thinking about getting a plant down, though. 12 seconds left to go. It's all up to Evan in a 1 versus 4 effectively. Cut down by... It was Dora who got the final kill. And that is going to be round to MACKO. They desperately needed that. Get them on the board. Give them something to build off.
And I'll give it to them. That was actually a really well-constructed attack. All 4 players lining up on the same side of things. If I was to be a cynic at all, the Doc would be cool being saved right until the very end when there is 1 man left alive. Probably would have benefited you at least a little bit sooner, but at that point, we're just being pedantic, Tim, as well. Again, a really good attack, setting themselves up together to play off the back of utility, steamrolling over a couple of players on the other side of WYLDE who didn't really have any response to what was going on. That's the kind of stuff we need to see a little bit more of, just at the time as Boomsy thinks, yeah, now's the time to have a little bit of a troll and a run around. It's on the Kavira here, Tim. Are we going to see an interrogation?
We'll see how it plays out. I don't want to see WYLDE kind of... I'm not saying that this is what they're doing, but giving rounds away. Yeah, I'm sure that there's, you know, some sort of plan, some sort of play for the Kavira, but, you know, personally I'm thinking, is that as much value as you can get? Look, time will tell. This is one of those, it's either a genius move or I'm going to be critical when all's said and done. It's going to, it's one end of the scale or the other, isn't it? You know, it's going to be that it's 4-2 and MACKO have taken round 5 and 6 and carry momentum into their defensive half, or it's going to be that you look at it and say, well, he got 2 interrogations. It was an amazing play, and it's won them the round of 5-1. We will see which of those it ends up. I've got an idea which it might be, but we'll see whether I'm proven right or not. Look, WYLDE have looked really good. I think MACKO continued to struggle on the defense, on the attack, sorry, as they have through stage 2. But that was much better from them in that last round. I said, you know, let's get in and get some map control. Let's get control of that. Let's force them back to basement. Let's then pick apart their defensive positions. MACKO did all of that. They did all of that and more, and they benefited from it as well. Really nice round, and they need to learn from that and do more of it.
Magnet out!
You know what my eyes have been on this whole time, Tim? It's Boomsy and where he's been lurking around. We saw, of course, thanks to running in direct to Easy, that he was tucked himself away, couldn't get spotted out on drones, just trying to keep himself busy. May well have been sniffed out by now, but is still lurking around on the downstairs. Someone tries to enter in below, then he'll be the guy to go and strike and collect them. You've got Garen below, of course, too. He's still down here looking. It's crazy that he's been here for a solid 75 seconds or so, and now that his teammates got the entry onto the Capitale, feels emboldened. It's his time to shine. Let's see if he can get away with it. He was 7-1 at a point, hasn't got anything for the last 3 rounds. Is this his time?
On filtration, so he's going to come back up blue stairs. Nobody immediately available for him to challenge, but Raiden has come inside now on the Blackbeard, but he does have support, so it's unlikely that he gets anything out of this. Dora cuts him down, and if they lose the round, it's, I'm afraid, going to be that critical ending that I spoke about, where I start asking about how much value there really was in that Kavira.
Well, we've got these 3 players on the upstairs, Tim. None of them actually on site itself, and we've got this same reverse angle that we saw in our lair game earlier today, where you've got the Sens on the downstairs ready to roll those light screens in and make a plan happen. We see it all the time. You kind of have to stop them now before they get in too deep. And sure enough, Ryden has tried his best and been sprayed down by Sneak. That's unfortunate. A 3 versus 3, still 2 light screens to work with, but I think they'll struggle to take the top floor now, Tim, if they don't find a way to get through.
There's no way that they get the top floor now. You know, 3v3, you can't really start risking those bodies with 30-some seconds to go. Dora is going to start putting the diffuser down, backs down as soon as that smoke detonates, and he's going to have to keep moving around, and that's where the danger is, because it exposes him to the angles that they are holding. 20 seconds left to go.
Just chilling out in the locker there, trying to keep himself safe from death from above. Now going to hook up nice and close to the actual site itself. Does he get away with it, Tim? Yes, he will. And now we're going to have to see a bit of magic coming out. Mats at least gets Akwi. It's 2 versus 3. MACKO in an advantageous position. But Wild have got a lot of players still available to work with here. Still one tucked off tight. His door off towards the side. Snaking his way in towards site here. Lola's going to hit the deck, and now it's all up to Dora to find 3. Should be able to get 1 for free, and does just that. But can he find anything else? Evidence Sneak going to come hunting for him. He finds 1 more. Only has to find the 4th, Tim, and that's what he does. Evan shut down, and MACKO 2 on the bouts, and managed to at least walk away with a decent half, given how it started.
Yeah, in reality, that should be 5-1. It should be 5-1 for Wild, at least. Dora had far too much time inside of sight there. He was able to just, you know, pick his spot, wait for smokes to wear off. And I hate to do it, Des, but I'm going to come back to that Caveira pick. Imagine that was a Maestro that you'd picked instead of a Caveira. Just, that's just one operator off the top of my head. Imagine that's a Maestro that you've picked instead of the Caveira. That Maestro, in combination with what the smoke did to Dora, could have downed Dora, could have killed Dora on the Maestro cams. Absolutely no problem. And then you don't have the plant going down inside. Look, sometimes, yeah, you got to roll the dice. You take your chance and you have an idea and you say, yeah, let's see if this play works. I just honestly don't think at 4-1 up in a relegation battle that it's really the time for the Caveira.
If he gets away, to be fair, and gets rid of Dora there, I get it. I get it. Now that he's the genius.
I get it. But I just don't think in a relegation match it's the time to take the chance to be a genius. Bring the solid utility. Right? Bring the solid utility. Bring the Maestro. Bring something like that. Bring the Echo. Bring the Echo. We'll see how the rest of the match shapes up, but depending on how this match finishes, that moment, we may well come back to that again.
Woo! All right, side switch, Tim. MACKO go on the defense. Wild are on the attack. We'll see if they can pull some together. Arguably have quite a bit of breathing room to play with here as well. They could lose 4 in a row, win the last 2 the same way that MACKO did. And we'll be on to overtime. As I mentioned, overtime is probably a death sentence for both teams. We don't want to be going there. So MACKO can't afford to drop any more than a couple of rounds. Wild really need to get something special going here and pull themselves ahead. Let's see how they do. It's going to be a top floor start. With the mirror already going down on towards this Mez wall to face off towards Ops.
Gonna get that wall open from long. Ooh! Just for a second there, I thought that Teb was gonna lose his head. He was just going through that double door as that last bullet went in through the barricade. But no such luck for Wild. 4-2 is on the scoreboard. 5v5. 2 minutes 15 left on the clock. The droning continues halfway through. Just as a reminder of the stakes, of course, these 2 teams are down there in that relegation fight when we look at stage 1 and 2 combined. So a win for either of them is going to be absolutely massive. Wild have certainly looked the better team for the majority of this. MACKO had a little bit of a resurgence in that last couple of rounds. Wild need to put a marker down on attack now and let them know it's not going to get any easier.
Absolutely. Instead, they want to get started in the half early on. Don't give MACKO a chance to build any kind of confidence. So that should be a freebie. Ted from below. Akwi also picked off by Boomsy. That's the start that you want, Tim. Couple of comfortable kills here. Dora at least getting 1 back. Proving to be the hero for his team in this game. Ryden finally getting himself another kill in the game as well. Towards 3. But it is the Dora story. has more kills than the entirety of his team combined so far. If he keeps him going in this game, then wow. Put respect on the name. We'll yet see if he can do it, of course. We've got Evan on the shield, still bearing down on them. Plenty of potential here, and a spray onto Raiden from below. Not finished off. He's also trying to play against lava here as well. The floor is lava. Watch out from below. We get into our last 60 seconds.
Yeah, Dora doing some serious work. If you look at it, MACKO would be in big trouble without him. 13-4 at the minute and has stepped up time and time again, including round 6 where he got that big clutch. But can he clutch out in round 7? 3 versus 3. How about that? Nitro goes out. Will be successful. Takes down Evan. Dora is unstoppable. Raiden beats him to the kill onto Boomsy. But MACKO, after a tough start to Lair, they look set to bring this back within 1. Garen is constantly on cam at the minute. The bulletproof cam sees him. He's going to try and put this down. Not going to be able to as the Toxic Babe canister comes out. Very little that he can do here. Dora is just going to be getting fed this information constantly. Pops around the corner, gets another kill, make it, I think, 15 now in the match. Absolutely. He could be on a 20 before we even get to round 12. This is unreal.
Ooh, all right. I mean, 2 kills for Raiden in the round as well. A player that, as I said, had a really rough first half, wasn't really able to get himself involved, but then has covered the back of Dora there beautifully, while Dora was, of course, focused on what was going on towards the breach itself. Raiden had him covered on towards Rocket Stairs. Dora maybe not aware of that fact, or being blunt, probably didn't trust Raiden in that position, but it was enough that they managed to get a round closed down, despite being in a 3 versus 5 for so much of it. Keeping the dream alive. It's 3-4. Can MACKO keep on fighting back? And also 3 rounds in a row, it's worth stressing, Tim.
Can Dora keep on fighting back? I think that's the real question. 15-4, just going absolutely wild at the minute. And Wild will wish that he wasn't. They will be on the attack of basement now. MACKO, like you say, 3 rounds in a row have really steadied the ship here.
10 seconds left before
Wild,
insertion.
they're going to be feeling the pressure. Now backs to the wall.
5 seconds to go.
They might just be wishing that they had that other round, that 5-1 half to relax back onto, but they don't. If they don't get this attack, they find themselves leveled up, and I think they're going to be scratching their head and wondering why, because they've been largely on top throughout this. So for MACKO to come away from this round 4-4 will be an absolute heist.
It's a bit crazy when you look at how those last 3 rounds that MACKO have won. In one of them, Dora got a 4K and won a 1v2. In the last one, he got a 3K, of course, Raiden getting the other 2. I like to say that lightning doesn't strike twice, but it has in 2 rounds here. What happens, though, if Dora gets picked off early or caught out by a nade or just something happens where he goes down? Who do they then turn to rely on is my main concern. So as long as he's protected, as long as he keeps himself going, there's always going to be faith in the MACKO camp. But you can't rely on that to be the case every single round.
Dora is going to get pinged out there, and Wild at the minute just needs to focus on tracking Dora down and shutting him down. If you do that, you've got a good chance in the rest of the round, but it's easier said than done. And that's not going to help matters at all. Garen somehow picks up a team kill onto Matt, and Akwi is going to take down Sneak. I tell you what.
Oh dear,
it was looking like Wild was sat atop a castle, Des, at the beginning of this, in a real fortress. Turns out that castle was made of sand, and it's starting to crumble around them.
It is a little bit, isn't it? Yeah, it's really falling apart on the attack inside. It's further proof towards the whole statement of 2 halves to a game of Siege. A team can look great on one side and awful on the other. Wild yet to really find their groove, and I'd like to see attack time after this round if this carries on. Teb's tucked in. Surely a freebie coming from somewhere. Someone's got to give it to him, Tib. There's 1, there's 2. Too easy for Teb. Not able to make it 3 to match up to the number in his name. Shut down by Garen, who once again finds himself in a 1vx. 60 seconds to play, though. Just don't think it's quite going to be enough because Dora still stands. And the team have got more than enough to be able to hold him off.
Yeah, Garen able to get that defuse back in hand, but with a clash as well, you just really don't see much of a chance because at the end of the day now, Raiden can just back off and he can just feed this. He can keep an eye on Garen the whole time. It doesn't even really matter if the electricity runs off because as soon as he gets down those stairs, he can just get aggressive. Exactly like that. Takes him down. Well played on the clash. That's going to be MACKO leveling things up. 4-4. And this is a real turnaround to say that Wild were 4-0 up. They have been reined back in.
Beautiful stuff. I mean, for Ryden, even just seeing him make that play at the end, growing in a bit of confidence. I was looking at the numbers of the stage and I was like, where does Ryden actually sit overall? And he was our lowest rated player, joint with Evan, interestingly, who's also in this game, down at 77 EPS. And yes, the start of this game was rough for him, but we are seeing him building confidence across these last 2 or 3 rounds, enough that it's putting Wild on the back foot. They've won 4 rounds straight each. Most definitely, we're seeing momentum with MACKO right now, and as suggested, it's a good time to slam the brakes on, I think, for Wild and just course correct here because things are not going according to plan. Yeah,
absolutely necessary. They need to figure out what's changed. I think part of what has changed is MACKO's attitude and approach. They were getting bullied a little bit in the first 3 or 4 rounds and they were struggling to get themselves established. You know, they weren't doing fantastic in any of the areas really, map control, you know, gunfights, anything, but they've found their feet and that is what has changed. You know, MACKO have dug deep. I also point out the last 4 rounds that they've won, they haven't had the entry in any of them. Sneaker's had 3 of the entry kills and Garen, well, it was a team kill, so it doesn't really help the situation. But none of them have been converted, and that's another problem that Wild need to look at. They are getting man advantage situation, but I think you know, part of the difficulty is they're coming up against moments like this with Teb and Dora, who are just going crazy.
I've not seen a team kill like that in a long time as well. That's so unfortunate. The best one I actually remember, this was a long time ago, maybe 2018 this was, I want to say. I want to say it was Corey, because Corey's a classic.
I mean, it definitely was.
It was a player beginning with K. Maybe it was Kendrew. It was on old consulate, and he's watching in towards yellow stairs, and like he's so locked into this pixel. Pixel changes color, shoots, kills his teammate. And I remember we asked afterwards, like, why? Like, what happened? And it was just like, you're so locked in on that pixel changing that you like snap react to click. That's why that team kill came through. It's the one that always sticks with me for some reason as like a real, you know, classic example of how this can happen. A lot of other team kills we see are players stepping in front of each other, an accident, and those kills coming out. That's just, yeah. That's really not good.
Pure reaction. It's, you know, you're in the fight of your life is the way you'll feel about it. You know that you're trying to fight off relegation. This is one of the teams that you're going to be up against realistically when everything is said and done for those spots and trying to avoid those spots. It's all on the line. It's all on the line, and you just see that movement. And there's that twitch of fear, there's that twitch of who's that? Bang, and it's too late, it's done. It's done, we've all been there, we've all responded as such, but fortunately for most of us, it's just a ranked game. It's not a relegation matchup. You know, that's not to say either of these teams are relegated because of this matchup, but it certainly isn't going to help the situation of trying to avoid it.
Nope. Completely agree. Well, let's see how we play out, Tim. All things are now square. It is a straight shootout to get those 3 points. I've mentioned it a few times now, but as a reminder, if it goes to OT, that really doesn't help out either team. Like, it'll help them out a little bit, but one of them needs to get 3 points here, both for relegation and for potential playoffs. Boozy getting picked off. Dora just carrying on this hot streak. 16 kills he's found now, Tim. If this does go to OT and it carries on, I don't want to speak too soon, but he could be the sort of guy that's on course here towards looking towards our 1-map kill record, which I believe is 27 kills.
Super Onigiri, if I'm not wrong. Was it not 28?
Indeed.
I thought it was 28.
27, I believe. 27? I will double check though.
Okay, go on. But look, I don't know this record, and nobody is going to know this record. But I'm also wondering if he's going to be the fastest to hit 20, because we're on round 8, and a good round could see him over the line. I don't know how quickly we've seen 20 hit in the past, but we will see how it continues. Dora got a lot of those kills on the defense. On the attack has been a little bit quieter on the defense. Nitro comes out. Ryden does manage to pick up Sneak. It doesn't get Evan, who it was kind of intended for, but they're not going to mind. Any capture will do the job. Look at this, trying to get aggressive into sight. Matt's just trying to get anything going. We've said how Ryden's been quiet through the stage. He has his moments, and one of them is there. A big triple for him to just power his team towards the win. 8 and 6 he stands on at the minute, and MACKO, they're going to go into the lead for the first time in this matchup.
Wow, Ryden with the 3K. Who could have seen that one coming, Tim? I'm pretty sure in a single round here, he's got 10% of his total kills in the stage so far. That's how it's been a struggle so far. But has finally got himself up to being positive at 8 and 6. I'm sure Dora's crying that he isn't the one that gets to walk away with more kills here to climb up towards further and further. But the 4-1 KD, I'm sure he doesn't really care as long as his team can get those points on the board. This will look absolutely wonderful for them. Evan getting rid of Ryan, not giving in the 4K. It does invite the opportunity for Dora to start trying to make something happen. Here he comes, and there we go, Tim. Collects his kill, gets up to 17.
Who else? Who else but Dora to come in and finish that off? What a timing. You know, if you're going to have a big performance like this, what an important game to do it in. Dora coming in and really delivering for his team. But also, you know, Ryden definitely deserves his shout in that round. Good stuff from him. Getting a nice triple. And I'm not sure what WYLDE can do here. They've had the tactical timeout. They're going to have an additional ban come in, but I don't feel like there's anybody that's causing the major problems. I feel like that's more of a ban towards strategy rather than thinking, we're going to react to what such a player has been doing. We know that Dora's been using Mirror. He's had the Goyo out, so maybe take away the Vector, but I just really don't think that it's going to, massively help you in this situation. So I think WYLDE have done the right thing there, just taking away the Azami. But it's not an operator that was only used in 2 out of the 3 rounds. They didn't bring it along in the last one, didn't MACKO. So I don't know how much will be gained from that, but we'll see as we go on. We're back to top floor. We saw this in round 7. MACKO were able to get the win. They did have the Azami that time, so let's see how they cope without. It's going to be a very similar lineup, except we're going to have the Tachanka, no Tubarao this time. They're going to try to deny that wall with Teb on the Bandit. They have brought the Fenrir along again, so lots of denial and lots of traps this time to try and slow them down with Ella joining the roster as well.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
I honestly think the Chaos has been where they found the most success, so to a level I understand it. Like punish them, slow them down, but I still want to see a little bit of that chaos. I still want to see Aquia. I still want to see Dora. Teb can get involved. In fact, the whole crew. Let's just all go a little bit balmy here. If they get to an execute, though, my worry is with things like the Nomad on side to lock things down, the Sens to shield off a lot of that plant going through, and Evan, of course, and the Monty to get it down. I think you're inviting a little bit of trouble, which is where the denial might actually be a really smart pick here. We'll see how the round develops for now. Classically, when you have a flourish, you want to see all 4 of these Roteros used to clear out utility to reduce the friction of you actually stepping your way through when it comes to thinking about that execute. Barbed wire taken down. I assume there was a gadget tossed up there above. Maybe. What could have been there? Would have been the FNAT. That would have been chewed out by the Forest as well. So now they start moving their way forwards. Here's Evan at the top of green. Sleep joins him, working his way down highway at the same time. They know about the player in behind, surely. Yes, they do. Well, the one tucked in who's having a quiet game himself, Tim, but on the smoke here, he can waste a hell of a lot of time.
And he's going to start doing exactly that very early, though, to be putting the Toxic Babe canisters out already. 30 seconds total denial. And that's only going to bring us down to about a minute and a half mark. Maybe a little bit more, but he knows that he's got Ryden for the backup on the Tachanka. They're doing everything they can to stop them getting established inside here. Still 5 versus 5. Boomsy has taken a bit of damage, as has Evan. Everybody on the side of MACKO still with a full complement of HP here, but a lot of work going on underneath from Garen as well, and you feel like it's a matter of time till somebody gets an opportunity.
I don't think I've ever seen a Chanka run out of shurikens, admittedly, Tim, but Ryden's done that now. We've still got a minute and 15 of the round to go. He's burnt them all there, trying to catch people out, I think, as they push forward, but they've played happy feet, danced around the fire, kept themselves standing, but no smokes available, no C4s. This is looking all right for MACKO. For WYLDE, they've got themselves into a spot where it's a bit shallow attack-wise. Matt's coming from behind on the display window and maybe give them an assist, but he needs to win his own fight first. So there's still a bit of work to do, but this is the best shot that WYLDE have got, Tim, of overcoming a defense.
MACKO's just going to keep challenging that display window. Sneak does manage to get on in now. Pressure into R6 room. Ryden gets one, though. There is an answer, a double answer coming in from WYLDE as they manage to get 2. Mats with another. The fight back is on from MACKO. 2 versus 3. 30 seconds left to go. This is still up for grabs.
But Shield Stout still standing, Tim. That's what worries me here. He's got smokes he can use. They've got flashes they can use. They've got loads to stall out time here and keep the last couple of players of MACKO pushed back. Lolo getting himself his 4th kill of the game. In behind the shield, expecting the Rocket player to be there, but no, he is gone. And the wall isn't open, so the Monty tucked in here. Oh no, the Uwu onslaught is dead, Tim. But look who's underneath. It's Garen. Got himself on the book. There is very little they can do except try and kill him. But he's just going to hold off here, Tim. Hasn't got a peek here. Dora has got to masterfully play this one. Baits it. Almost gets some shots through. Has a couple more tries at making this work. But it's looking tough. Garen has stepped his way forward. Off comes Dora. And there is just no way. There is no way that Dora wins that on the vertical. Gets the disable. MACKO are breaking wild hearts tonight.
If it was anybody else, I'd agree with you, Des, but would you have expected anything else from Dora tonight? The man can't miss. He can do no wrong. Oh dear, what a response from MACKO. Tough situation, 2v2. It was getting the kill on the Monty that really helped them out there, but Garen's got to win that fight. It was written all over his face. We saw it on the player cam at the end. Heads down now. He's got to ignore that. He's got to write that off. Head back up, back into the game. He's, you know, one of those players that can really deliver. We know that. It's just not happened for him there, but it just shows how hard Wild are being hit now by these losses. That's 6 in a row, by the way.
That's the most heartbreaking part for them. But again, for me, this is just one of those where I'm looking at it and it feels like a mirror of that first half. We were speaking about, you know, good starts to round for MACKO, but they just couldn't always close things out. Now we're seeing Wild do the same. They danced around this utility so well. The smokes, the Chankashumukas, they were expired. C4 was used. No one even got hurt from it. They step forward and get the majority of kills. They do everything right. But just can't quite see the round out. Dora yet again is the hero. Turns out Lightning will keep on striking that same spot until the opponent is gone. And Wild now have got to win 2 rounds on the bounce after losing 6 in a row if they still want a chance of making it into playoffs. And that's certainly a way to start things off. Dora, not quite sure that was the time to go as aggy as he did. No. But if he got a kill and managed to pick off someone like a shield early on, that would have been game done.
Oh, I had my moment for Wild back in round 6. I'll have another one there. There's no need for that. Dora, if anybody's earned the right to have a go, it's him. He's 19 kills in. He's had a phenomenal game. And sometimes when you're on a hot streak like that, when you're on a bit of a heater, you've just got to say, you know what, I'm going out of this door. And you just feel like your bullets are going to land on somebody. They're all magnetic. But it was not the case. And MACKO don't have infinite amounts of time to get this done. There's only 2 rounds to close this out, and they really don't need to be losing that talisman player. They're now down to 5 versus 3. I think that was a big mistake to kick the round off like that.
Yeah, I mean,
there was just no need.
Just that player. Nah, Garen won't roll over and die. Never does. But a player that has been pretty quiet throughout the game, 4 and 10 coming into this round, for example. They've got a 5v3. It's the most dangerous man advantage in the world, Tim. Just feels like there's always a way to fight their way back in some way, shape or form if you give them the opportunity. No Dora on side to clutch out, and as I've said, without him, is it possible for MACKO will ride and be the hero once again? Surely Wild get this one over the line. There's at least one freebie. Teb stepping up and getting rid of Mats. 3 versus 4.
He can't keep getting away with it, Des. It's the second time that he's hit up there. He got 2 last time. He's got 1 this time. They've got to be using those drones and the intel. Teb manages to make it 2 this time. And all of a sudden, MACKO are back in it. Dora might be very grateful to Teb by the end of this round.
I tell you what, Tim, this is going to be heartbreaking, but no! You can't let him get away with this, boys! The 5v3 is the most dangerous scoreline. Wild a couple of deaths away from relegation, missing out on playoffs, you name it. It's a miserable affair if they can't save this round. But if you can't win a 5v3, Tim, some may say it's exactly what you deserve. Shield versus shield. Lolo, 2 smokes still in back pocket. Evan and Boomsy have got to pull this one out of their backsides. And it's looking dicey as we get to the last 30 seconds.
Monty's going to drop into the smoke. Challenge will come in. Oh, that's actually a really nice play to get around the clash. There's an opportunity to get something going straight down into the Toxic Babe, though. 1 versus 2 as Lolo finds himself all alone. Toxic Babe canister goes out. 15 seconds left to go. Boomsy, super low health, though. It's going to be the Monty that needs to plant. Boomsy taken down. They're going to have to take the fight, and Evan wins it. They hold on for another round.
That is a sigh of relief and a half from Garen. Still in with a chance to save their skins. They had such a good start to the stage. It'll be heartbreaking to see them relegated after the improvements they've made. And they elongate the suffering by just one more round at the very least. Still got work to do. But my God, could it be any closer? Absolutely bonkers stuff.
Like I said, you know, I feel like it's the same situation for Dora there. I was critical of his run out, and I'll continue to be, so I feel like his team needed him on the field there. It comes down to a 1v1. It's the difference maker at the end of the day. I could be more accepting of it. And I understand with hindsight, it is so easy to be critical and, sat here, not in the game. I get it, I do. But my problem with it is not so much that it didn't work or that he lost his life. It was the run out itself. It just seems like such a low percentage run out. What did he get downrange? About 3 bullets. He literally ran round the corner and just goes, brrr, and he's just literally hoping that he just pops a headshot in 2 or 3 bullets. That somebody's. He's not even properly aimed because he just has to cut. He's marked outside. He doesn't want to be, and it's just such a low percentage run out. Had it been a peek out of a window, had it been something just a little bit more calculated, I might be, saying differently, saying, well, those are the ones that win or lose rounds. It's unfortunate that that's the way it's gone, but I just think, given the attempt and where it was and everything else, I think it was a bad choice. I've got to say that. But look, MACKO have got one more opportunity. 6-5 they remain. Overtime doesn't really help anybody here, does it? Because both of these teams are desperate for as many points as they can get to try and move up those overall standings. And as soon as we go to overtime, all you're doing is helping everybody else because you're splitting those points between both of you.
Absolutely, and that reminded me of relegation points-wise. WYLDE on 17, MACKO on 18, Wolves 19, VP 20. Oh. It is dangerously close. And that's why we keep on speaking about this. Playoffs is one thing. Whether or not you've got a space in the competition next year is another. Let's see if we can do it. We've already lost one on the entry, of course. Sneak being picked up on that line extremely early. So MACKO just going to breathe a little moment. Still with a chance to close it out, unless Boomsy can really pull off a play here on the Nook. Large undetected until they've got to go to the barricade. Punch it through to crouch on through. They're not going to hear it break. Off towards Rocket he goes. No one still yet knows. They hear the Monty above, but not him underneath. He could do some work, Tim, but needs the info from the rest of his team.
He's had a hell of a round, really, Boomsy. He's done almost an entire tour of the map and hasn't seen anybody. He's going to continue searching and seeking to try and find somebody, but 1 minute 10 left to go. WYLDE need to start impacting these defenders. They need to start moving them around and having a little challenge onto them. They really need to be finding a kill. They've got themselves established through display window, I think. Akwi steps out and gets Boomsy, though. It's not looking good for WYLDE. 5 versus 3. One of those a shield. So really, kind of, if you look at it in gun terms, 5 versus 2.5. This is not ideal. Cut down again. Dora gets his 20th. Takes down Garen. 4 versus 2. And surely MACKO can get 3 points in the bag.
You'd assume so, Tim. They've got a shield and a twitch to do a lot of work here, and very much a dream between the two of them to keep things going. Last 30 seconds here. MACKO with a C4 and impact to play behind. Enough utility to do work. They're in below as well, so a plant is going to be something really hard to pull off here. It's down to Evan. 1 HP in a dream, Tim. WYLDE, quite literally, may have shone brightly throughout the stage, but this is what it comes down to. A MACKO win to send them down to Challenger Series and give MACKO a fighting chance of surviving and still making it into playoffs.